Assalamu alaikum. My name is Lubna Sayyed. Welcome to Reflections of Pakistan. इस महीने हम लोग जो है पॉलिटिक्स के बारे में बात करेंगे, चूँकि आपको पता होगा कि वो प्रीमियर के इलेक्शंस आने वाले हैं और हर सिटी में जो है वो लोग जो है लोगों को मेंबर्स बना रहे हैं और फिर उसके इलेक्शंस होंगे नॉमिनेशंस के एंड ऑफ नवंबर में. तो आज के जो हमारे गेस्ट हैं वो पाकिस्तानी हैं. उनका नाम है यासिर नकवी और वो हैं मेंबर ऑफ पार्लियामेंट फेडरल लेवल के और ऑटवा सेंटर की है उनकी राइडिंग. तो वो हमें अपने चाइल्डहुड के बारे में बताएंगे कि उन्होंने यहाँ पे कौन सी एज में आए, कहाँ से आए पाकिस्तान से, उनके साथ कौन लोग आए, उनकी फैमिली मेम्बर्स. फिर यहाँ के उन्होंने लॉ पढ़ा, वो लॉयर बने. फिर उसके बाद वो हमें बताएंगे कि वो पॉलिटिक्स में क्यों गए और उनका क्या इंटरेस्ट है पॉलिटिक्स से. तो हम इस टॉपिक पे आज उनसे बात करेंगे और अब बस वो आएंगे थोड़ी देर में. और एक और भी चीज़ ये है कि जो है अगर कोई भी आपको इशू डिस्कस करना है हमारे प्रोग्राम में या आप चाहते हैं कि हम डिस्कस करें, कोई टॉपिक को कवर करें, तो आप हमें कांटेक्ट कर सकते हैं और बता सकते हैं. सो नाउ लेट्स मीट आवर गेस्ट. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to today's show. We have our special guest, Yasir Naqvi, who's a member of parliament from Central Ottawa. Welcome, Yasir. Welcome to the show. Welcome to Reflections of Pakistan.
Thank you very much.
So Yasir जो है एक पाकिस्तानी है. He's born in Pakistan. He came here when he was young, and now he's a member of parliament. By profession, he's a lawyer. So let's ask him. तो आप अपने बारे में थोड़ा सा बैकग्राउंड बताइए. आप कब आए, आपकी एज क्या थी, and then what did you do and who came with you?
बिल्कुल. तो
कहाँ से आए पाकिस्तान से?
मेरी फैमिली हम लोग कराची से मूव किया कनाडा और 35 साल पहले. सो 1988 में हम लोग यहाँ पर आए थे. मेरी उस वक्त 15 साल उम्र थी. सारे मेरे वालदैन, अम्मी डैडी, मेरे बड़े भाई अली नकवी, मेरी छोटी बहन एलिया नकवी और मैं, हम सब मिल के यहाँ आए थे. तो सबसे पहले तो हम नायग्रा फॉल्स में मूव हुए. वहाँ पर अम्मी डैडी ने एक मोटेल ख़रीदा. दोनों वकील थे, लेकिन ज़ाहिर है यहाँ जब आए तो वो वकालत नहीं कर सके क्योंकि ना उनके क्रेडेंशियल्स माने गए, ना उनका तजुर्बा कि जी उनके पास कैनेडियन तजुर्बा नहीं है. तो उन्होंने मोटेल ख़रीदा. फिर हमने वो मोटेल चलाया, लेकिन रिसेशन आ गया तो वो भी खो दिया. उसके बाद दोबारा से ज़िंदगी पे बनाई और मेहनत करके किया. लेकिन मैंने हाई स्कूल अपना मैंने नायग्रा फॉल्स से किया. उसके बाद मैं मैकमास्टर यूनिवर्सिटी गया. फिर वहाँ से मैंने 2 डिग्रीज़ की और उसके करने के बाद मैं आया ऑटवा, यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ ऑटवा लॉ पढ़ने के लिए. तो वो था 1996 में और तब से मैं ऑटवा में रह रहा हूँ. जी हाँ.
ओके. तो आपने मैकमास्टर में क्या पढ़ाई करी?
मैकमास्टर में मैंने 2 डिग्रीज़ की थी. सबसे पहले तो बीएससी किया लाइफ साइंसेस में. उसके बाद एक बीए ऑनर्स किया पॉलिटिकल साइंस में. पहला ये इरादा था कि मैं डॉक्टरी वगैरह करूं, लेकिन मुझे अंदाज़ा हुआ कि सियासत से लॉ से ज़्यादा मुझे इंटरेस्ट है. तो फिर मैंने एक डिग्री ख़त्म करने के बाद दूसरी डिग्री शुरू की पॉलिटिकल साइंस में. उसके तहत मैंने लॉ स्कूल में अप्लाई किया और मुझे दाखिला मिल गया.
Right. And you mentioned that both your parents are actually lawyers, right?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
Both of them, they practice law in Pakistan.
Okay. And I think your brother is also a lawyer, isn't he?
My brother is also a lawyer. He does immigration consultancy. And my younger sister is also a lawyer. And in California, that's where she lives. And she does criminal defense law.
That's excellent. And okay, so you chose to do law at Ottawa U. And then after that, did you practice law?
I did. So I finished my law at University of Ottawa. I fell in love with Ottawa and just thought it was just a beautiful city. And I felt really comfortable. I felt like I belong here. And so I decided to stay and started working with a law firm in Ottawa. My area of practice was international trade law. And so that's the area that I worked in for several years. I started as an articling student, then became an associate in the same firm, then became a partner in the same firm, while I got even more involved in the community in Ottawa, doing volunteer work with a community health center, with Ottawa Food Bank, and also politically I even got more involved with the Liberal Party, which led me to run for office eventually.
Okay. So how many years would you say you practiced law for before you actually ran?
Oh, I
politics?
practiced law for 7 years or so before I ran for office. Yes.
And what struck you to go into politics all of a sudden?
दो तीन बातें थी. एक तो
जी.
we came from a very politically involved family. जब हम पाकिस्तान में भी रहते थे, दोनों वालिदैन हमारे सियासत में काफ़ी इन्वॉल्व थे. बल्कि मेरे वालिद ने 9 महीने जेल में भी गुजारे पाकिस्तान में जब जनरल ज़िया हुकूमत में थे, तो फॉर लीडिंग अ प्रो डेमोक्रेसी मार्च. सबसे बड़ी वजह हमारी कनाडा आने की भी यही थी कि हम इस तरह के मुल्क में रहें जहाँ पर आज़ादी हो, लोग खुल के सियासत में हिस्सा ले सकें, ओपन एंड फेयर इलेक्शंस होते हैं. तो जैसे ही हम शुरू में ही आए थे तो हमने लिबरल पार्टी ज्वाइन कर ली थी नायग्रा फॉल्स में. और ज़ाहिर है फिर मैं इन्वॉल्व रहा मैकमास्टर यूनिवर्सिटी में एज अ यूथ लिबरल, यंग लिबरल, then same thing in Ottawa. And my desire came from making sure that all voices are at the table where decisions are made. Right. You know, we live in a democratic society. Politics play a very important role in deciding what happens, whether it's your healthcare, whether it's your education, or from an international perspective. And I wanted to make sure that all perspectives are there. My voice, my experiences are unique. And ensure that that representation is there. I've always lived in a city setting, in an urban setting, like the riding I represent, and that's what propelled me to run for nomination provincially and to be eventually elected.
Okay, so now let's talk about your political career. So you started off as a member of provincial parliament, right? And what year did you?
So I was first elected in 2007.
Okay.
From Ottawa Centre.
Right.
Yeah.
And why did you choose provincial over federal?
Yeah, it's a very good question. So I've always felt more drawn to provincial politics because the issues that impact our lives the most, our healthcare, our education, how our communities are designed, all those things are primarily issues that are regulated by the provincial government. Those are services that are provided by provincial government. Remember I mentioned that I did a lot of volunteer work.
Yes, you did.
So things like community health centers. So I got to see firsthand, for example, in downtown Ottawa, what are the needs and the challenges of people with health issues, mental health or addiction, or homelessness, and how that impacts your health. Right. Same thing with volunteering with food bank. I got to see how food insecurity can impact people's lives. So that's what drew me to provincial politics, because those type of decisions that impact our well-being, our health, are done at the provincial level more so than the federal level.
Right. So it's more so because, you know, it impacts our daily lives rather than, you know, at a bigger scale.
Yeah, I mean, we all aspire to make sure that we have good health, our loved one has good health, that our children get the best education so they're successful. These are big things that provincial government in our system decides how much money to spend, on what to spend the money, what kind of services to provide, rather than the federal government.
Right. And then I believe you became the Attorney General as well.
Yeah, so I had few cabinet positions. So
why don't you tell the viewers what they were, because maybe a lot of them probably don't know.
Yes, so I've been very honored to have had the opportunity to serve in various capacities. I was first asked to join the cabinet in 2013 as the Minister of Labor, and so I served in that role. I was responsible for increasing minimum wage in Ontario, first time in a fairly long period of time. I worked with businesses and anti-poverty groups and unions to come up with a system that everybody can agree to. After that, I was made the Minister of Community Safety and Correctional Services, so I was responsible for all the policing and the jail system in the province. Very big ministry, lots of big decisions. This is where, when, for example, I banned race-based carding, where police will stop people of color, especially young men, black, brown, Arab, and collect their personal information. It's a practice that had gone on for a long time, and we felt that it was against people's human rights, it was discriminatory, and I got the chance to put an end to it. And then in 2016, I was appointed as the Attorney General of Ontario, which is a very big responsibility in our system of government.
Okay, that's good to know. And then you switched to federal. So how did you go about doing that, and why did you do that?
Yeah, so I lost the election in 2018. So that's that was one thing. I mean, 2018 was a very difficult year for Liberal Party in Ontario,
Right, it
and
was,
we
yes.
lost government, and I lost election, which is a part of democracy in our system. And at that time, I decided to start my private life, and I have 2 young children, and spend more
Yeah.
time with them. And I joined as the CEO of an organization called the Institute for Canadian Citizenship. And
What do they do?
the Institute for Canadian Citizenship is an incredible organization. It was created by Adrienne Clarkson, who was the former Governor General of Canada. She was a first refugee to actually become Governor General of Canada. So she's a remarkable woman. And her husband, John Roston Saul, they created this organization. And the idea is to work with new Canadian citizens about citizenship, about how they can help build Canada. And so they do citizenship ceremonies. They have programs that will allow new citizens to go to museums and art galleries for free. Again, is to build the sense of belonging for new Canadian citizens towards Canada, and how they can help contribute.
Right.
So they gave me this job to run this organization because they felt that I sort of symbolize
Yes.
that success.
Being an immigrant and
being
so
an
on.
immigrant, coming at
Exactly.
age 15,
Yeah.
not being able to speak a lot of English earlier on, but now have built a successful life. They felt this is exactly the model. So it was an amazing experience for me to run the organization. But as I was doing this, in 2 years in or so, an opportunity came for me to run federally
Right.
in Ottawa Centre, because the member of parliament who was there before, she decided not to run again. And the
So you
community,
decided to embark on that.
I decided to embark. The community came to me, and they insisted that I should consider running
Right.
to become a member of parliament. And so I decided to do that, and was elected federally for the same community in September of 2021.
Okay. And that's the position that you're currently in.
That's the position that I'm currently serving.
So what do you notice, what is your preference? Now you've been in both places, provincially and federally.
Well, I think it's not a matter of preference, because both levels of government
Work in a different way.
in different ways,
Yeah.
and they fulfill different roles, and important roles, right? Our
Yes.
entire system is designed that responsibilities are shared between federal, provincial, and municipal governments, and each one of them are distinct and are as equally important. And so the federal government, of course, when it comes to our economy, we saw during the COVID days, making sure the supports are there for Canadians, our international relations, issues are on immigration. All these are federal responsibilities, and they're important responsibilities. But what I find is that when I'm still out in the community and knocking on doors, people are talking to me about the healthcare.
Yeah.
People are talking to me about the education system, how parents are losing their confidence in our public education system. So that's why it's led me to seek the leadership of the Ontario Liberal Party, because a lot of the big challenges as we're coming out of the pandemic people are facing are in health and education,
Right.
which is the responsibility of the provincial government. And the current provincial government is really not doing a good job in restoring people's confidence in our public health and education.
That you'll be more valuable, or you can give more back provincially. So now let's talk about, you just mentioned that you've decided to run for the leadership for provincial, for the premier. So do you want to talk about
Yeah,
about
so the Ontario Liberal Party.
that? So what led you to,
Yeah.
why did you decide to run for that?
So Ontario Liberal Party is doing an election to select their new leader. The party have had 2 really bad elections. There's a lot of work that needs to be done to build the party. And I really believe strongly that Ontario Liberal Party has a very strong role to play in Ontario to build a healthcare system and an education system that works for everyone.
Right.
And so after talking to a lot of friends and traveling the province, I received a lot of encouragement that, given my experience, both in the political world, the fact that I have served as the president of the Ontario Liberal Party, but most importantly, my lived experience. जिस तरह हमारी फैमिली
Right. जैसे
इमिग्रेंट की
आपने कहा
तरह
आपके फादर लॉयर थे, वो
जी
प्रैक्टिस
हाँ,
नहीं
कर
कर सकते,
सके।
इस तरह डॉक्टर्स हैं
इसी तरह
जो
कितने
practice
डॉक्टर्स नहीं कर सकते,
तो उनके लिए क्या कर सकते
जी
हैं
हाँ।
आप?
तो that's why I decided कि I will seek the leadership of Ontario Liberal Party, so the party can run on a platform
Okay.
that people can see themselves reflected. Practical ideas that will make people's lives easier to live. तो आपने सवाल पूछा कि जैसे डॉक्टर्स आ रहे हैं.
हाँ, जैसे बहुत सारे यहाँ पे जैसे हेल्थ केयर में अभी शॉर्टेज है,
जी
राइट?
हाँ.
बहुत सारे लोग हैं जिनके पास फैमिली डॉक्टर नहीं है.
जी हाँ.
तो अब जो है क्या है उसका सोल्यूशन?
तो देखिए 2-3 चीज़ें करनी है उसमें. एक तो सोल्यूशन ये कि हमें इन्वेस्ट करना है कि मेडिकल स्कूल्स में, नर्सिंग स्कूल में और सीटें बनाएं. कितने हमारे बच्चे जो हैं दूसरे मुल्कों में जा रहे हैं और यहाँ नहीं पढ़ पा रहे. तो हमें ये पूरी कोशिश करनी है कि वो बच्चे जो हैं उनको यहीं दाखिले मिलें हमारे सूबे में, ताकि फिर यहीं वो डॉक्टर बने.
राइट.
लेकिन दूसरी जो बड़ी बात है, कितने लोगों को हम जानते हैं जो पूरी दुनिया से हैं, पाकिस्तान से, इंडिया से, बांग्लादेश से, सऊदी अरेबिया से आ रहे हैं, जो कि डॉक्टर्स हैं लेकिन यहाँ आके वो प्रैक्टिस नहीं कर पा रहे. उनके लिए इतने मुश्किल किया जाता है कि वो या तो ऊबर चला रहे हैं या कोई लैब में काम कर रहे हैं या कुछ नहीं कर रहे. I want to change that system, and that is within the power of the provincial government.
Okay.
All of it. And in this leadership race, the very first policy I announced was how do we license internationally trained professionals. I've already put ideas. This is something we can do, and I'm very committed. This is personal to me.
Yeah.
क्योंकि मेरे माँ बाप
Exactly. Lawyers थे
और कुछ नहीं कर
practice नहीं
सके.
कर
और
सके.
इतने लोगों को मैं जानता हूँ इस वक्त. We need to change that system, and that will benefit all of Ontario.
Yes.
And people want that change to happen.
Yeah. Because I mean, the change has taken place worldwide. It's happening in a lot of other countries, right?
It's happening in a lot of other countries. It's happening in our country. Places like Nova Scotia and Newfoundland are doing a much better job than what we're doing in Ontario, and it's time that we bring that change, and I believe I'm the person who will bring that change.
Okay. और इसके अलावा और क्या है आपके प्लेटफॉर्म में? एक तो आपने यही बताया कि
जी, एक ये
education है.
दूसरी जो बहुत बड़ी चीज़ है इस वक्त, मेंटल हेल्थ.
Mental
Yes. बहुत से लोग सफ़र कर रहे हैं. हमारे लोग सफ़र कर रहे हैं.
Yeah.
आपको पता है हमारे कल्चर में तो हम मेंटल हेल्थ की बात भी नहीं करते.
हमारे
हाँ, एक टैबू है, स्टिग्मा है.
Exactly.
तो उसको हमें चेंज करना है.
Yeah.
क्योंकि
वैसे जब से कोविड हुआ है तो लोगों ने उसको एड्रेस करना तो शुरू कर दिया है.
लेकिन फिर उनके पास पैसे नहीं होते. फिर उनको इलाज मिलना नहीं पड़ता. राइट. जैसे सोशल साइकोथेरेपी हो गई, टॉक थेरेपी हो गई, सोशल वर्क, ये सारी चीज़ों पे करना है. तो मेरा
like OHIP will cover it.
I want OHIP to cover it.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
I want universal access through OHIP. बहुत से कम लोगों के पास प्राइवेट इंश्योरेंस होती है. ज़्यादातर लोग फिर it's expensive.
Yeah.
But so what I have suggested that if I come in government as the leader of the Ontario Liberal Party, we will have mental health universally accessible, the entire spectrum of services from psychotherapy all the way to a psychiatrist or psychologist, and is be covered by OHIP, so that people can get good mental health care, which impacts our physical health as well.
And I mean, there's a long wait list as well, right?
Yeah.
For somebody to see a psychologist or even a psychiatrist, I think it's a few years.
Exactly.
It's
and
a very long
if
list.
people can
and then if
afford
they
it,
recommend therapy, then
yeah.
then at the end of the day they're stuck because the therapy is not covered.
So I think time has come. Ontario government right now spends about 3% of its budget on mental health care, which is nothing.
Nothing.
So I'm suggesting that at least 10% of mental health care budget be spent, or healthcare budget should be spent on mental health care, so that you can actually start providing services, start paying professionals who are well trained to provide those services.
Exactly. Yes, that's something up there. And what about affordable housing?
So affordable housing is another big
issue. Yes.
And we need to build more housing. We need to build more affordable housing. We need to build housing for marginalized people, women who need shelter. I know you're quite involved in that. I think provincial government working along with federal government has a very important role in that. One of the things that I'm advocating for, that federal and provincial government owns a lot of land, that we should leverage that land to build more affordable and social housing, so that we can really address the issues around homelessness. A lot of our homeless people are people with mental health and addiction issues, so they need health care to go with housing.
Exactly.
And so these are the big things that we need to work on, and we're finding that the current government under Doug Ford are just absent. They're nowhere to be seen in investing in these type of things.
You know, there's a lot of office buildings that are empty downtown. Have you ever thought about doing something with them? Because most people nowadays are just working from home, right?
Yeah.
So is there some way to convert them into housing or something?
So there are opportunities
Okay.
to do that. I've actually created, as a member of parliament, a task force to look at ways how we can revitalize downtown Ottawa.
Right.
And one of the areas in that we're looking at is the empty office spaces. How can we convert them
Yes.
for residential purposes?
Or even hotels.
Yeah, even hotels. So there's one building on Slater Street that recently went through that conversion. I went and did a tour of it, and it was quite interesting. I mean, it's not cheap. It takes money
Yes.
to do it, but it is doable. I actually went to Calgary. Calgary has probably the city have done the most.
Yes.
And I got the opportunity to learn about their projects. So I'm continuously advocating both to the federal government and to the municipal government that we create a fund that can help subsidize the conversion a lot of these properties,
Yes.
so that there's an opportunity for us to use them for housing.
Exactly. If there is an opportunity, then maybe some business people would get involved, and perhaps they could rebuild it into
Yeah,
something.
yeah, and I
'Cause
think that's the kind of
structure is there.
partnerships we need.
Exactly. It's just on the inside that you'll have to do
Yeah.
some alterations,
Yeah.
right? Yes. And what other things are on your platform apart from that?
So education is another big one.
Right.
One of the big challenges that people are facing with the education system, the classrooms are way too big. I mean, I
Yes.
met a kindergarten teacher the other day, and she told me she has 35 kids.
My goodness.
35 4 and 5-year-olds in a classroom. That's unacceptable. So I'm saying that we should have smaller class sizes.
Yes.
We should have hard caps on those. For kindergarten kids, it should not be more than 15 kids. From grade 1 to 8, 20 kids, and grade 9 to 12, 25 kids. So that our teachers really can spend time
Of course.
on our children and make sure that they're getting ready for the future.
Right. Why are they so big though? Is it because they've closed some schools down? Or?
It's lack of investment. It's lack of investment. I mean, this provincial government really believes in a privatized model on things, so they are starving our healthcare system, our hospitals, our schools,
Right.
and the result is that we're not seeing the kind of investment we need. And for me, investment in education is an investment in our future. This is how you grow the economy. It's about making sure
it's our
that
future. The
our
kids
children are our future.
Exactly.
And so that's what we're seeing. I mean, my children go to a school downtown, and the first thing all of us noticed in September when school started, that there were 2 new portables. So more kids are going in portables, as opposed to building a new school where they can get good education.
Yeah.
Post-secondary education, our university and college education has become very expensive as well. If you come from a family of a modest income, you would not be able to afford college or university anymore, or you have to take a lot of amount of money in loans. So I'm suggesting that we should make college and university free for children coming from family incomes of $90,000 or less, because this way they have an opportunity to grow. So those are the things that I'm quite focused on as well.
So that's great, and it's so good to hear about your entire platform. And thank you so much for coming on the show today and letting our viewers know about your background and your future. And we wish you all the best. And it was just great, and maybe we'll have you come back again after the elections.
Inshallah, I'd love to come back again as the
and
leader
maybe you
of the
can give
Ontario
advice.
Labour Party.
Inshallah. And perhaps when you return, you could give advice to youngsters as how they should get involved and why.
बिल्कुल.
Thank you so
बहुत
much.
शुक्रिया.
तो उम्मीद है कि आपको आज का प्रोग्राम जो है पसंद आया होगा. हमारे गेस्ट थे यासिर नकवी, मेंबर ऑफ पार्लियामेंट. उन्होंने हमें काफ़ी चीज़ें तो बताई कि जो है वो क्यों एक्चुअली पॉलिटिक्स में गए, उसके पीछे रीज़न क्या था. एक तो सबसे बड़ा अहम रीज़न ये था कि उनके जो माँ बाप हैं वो भी दोनों लॉयर्स थे, मगर जब वो यहाँ पे आए तो वो प्रैक्टिस भी नहीं कर सकते लॉ, क्योंकि यहाँ पे वो एजुकेशन कैनेडियन सिस्टम जो है एक्सेप्ट नहीं करता है. तो वो भी एक रीज़न है जो वो प्रोविंशियल में रन कर रहे हैं इस वक्त. वो प्रीमियर बनना चाहते हैं, कनाडा ऑन्टेरियो के प्रीमियर वो बनना चाहते हैं. तो वो उस रेस में इसलिए शामिल हुए हैं ताकि वो ये चीज़ों पे कुछ हेल्प कर सकें. जैसे हेल्थ केयर में आजकल जो है काफ़ी शॉर्टेज है, बहुत सारे लोगों के पास फैमिली डॉक्टर्स नहीं है. तो वो ये कह रहे हैं कि अगर मैं इलेक्ट हुआ तो मैं इन चीज़ों को थोड़ा चेंज कर सकता हूँ, ताकि जो लोग जैसे पाकिस्तान, इंडिया या कहीं और से भी आ रहे हैं, और अगर वो लॉयर हैं या डॉक्टर हैं या जो भी है उनका प्रोफेशन बैक होम से, वो यहाँ पे उसके लिए कुछ आसानियत हो जाए, ताकि यहाँ पे भी वो फिर मेडिसिन प्रैक्टिस कर सकें या लॉ प्रैक्टिस कर सकें। तो उन्होंने ये सब चीज़ों के बारे में बताया। उन्होंने ये भी बताया कि हम लोगों के लिए कितना इम्पॉर्टेंट है कि हम लोग पार्टिसिपेट करें सब इलेक्शंस में, और ताकि जो है चूँकि उसकी इम्पैक्ट हमारी फैमिली लाइफ पे होता है, और प्रीमियर जो है, जो प्रोविंशियल गवर्नमेंट है, वो एक्चुअली हमारी डेली लाइफ पे ज़्यादा इम्पैक्ट करता है, क्योंकि उसमें हेल्थ केयर है, एजुकेशन है, हाउसिंग है, फूड है, तो ये सब चीज़ों का डायरेक्ट इम्पैक्ट होता है। तो बहुत इम्पॉर्टेंट है कि सब लोग जो है पार्टिसिपेट करें, और ऑटवा में आप लोग वोट कर सकेंगे अपने नॉमिनेशंस का नवंबर 26 को अपने राइडिंग्स में। So hopefully we learned quite a lot from Yasser today and the importance. And in Ottawa, in the Pakistani community, there's lots of other things happening. There is an event for the Shaukat Khanum hospital, which is a hospital which provides free cancer treatment in Pakistan. And they have a fundraising gala on October the 27th. So we'll post the poster at the end of the show. So those of you who want to buy your tickets, you can contact them and purchase your tickets. And they will have a famous Pakistani singer coming. She'll be singing. Her name is Shazia Manzoor. She's a very well-known artist back home in Pakistan. So she'll also be performing. So do help them. I believe the tickets are $75, and there's also VIP tickets that you can buy also. So I'll post the poster at the end of the show so that people have access to it and they can purchase and support this cause, which is a great cause, helping people to relieve of cancer for free back in Pakistan. And apart from that, we've had lots of new Pakistani restaurants opened recently. The main one being, there's Desi Zaika on Carlingwood Mall. And then the other one that we have, which is a famous chain from Toronto, it's called Karai Point, and they're in Canada. So do go try them. Apparently they have the best karai, and I know Ottawa, it's a growing community, so we're always very grateful when all these new restaurants come here and they open chains. So we are grateful to them, and we should support them definitely. So I would encourage everybody to go and try all the Pakistani restaurants and even non-Pakistani. There's so much halal food. Go try them all. Let's support our local businesses so that they can survive and we can get more in Ottawa.